All right, everybody, welcome back. HSC Podcast 170. Got Big Box Steve, Big Smooth, and Fresh Wes coming off week 9 in the NFL. We'll do our recap, get our week 10 picks in, and start off talking a little bit just NFL here. Trade deadline obviously happening right now, so a couple big trades in the NFL. Obviously, the Jets are the talk of the trade conversation right now. So, how do you guys feel about them pretty much giving up their best two players? You're talking about Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Quite a few picks out of it, but those guys are pretty young, good players.
Yeah, that's where it's hard because, as a Raider fan, I know all too well when we traded Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper for three first-round picks that turned out to be nothing. It's like you can get the picks, but they better turn out to be good. You already have an all-pro corner and a pretty decent, probably Pro Bowl defensive
He's what,
tackle.
three-time? Yeah,
So,
three-time Pro Bowl.
so you need to get, so in these picks, you need to get another corner, another defensive tackle, because I don't think Mozzie Smith is going to mount to much. And then hope you can get a quarterback and a receiver and all sorts of stuff.
So they have five picks, first round picks between 2026, 2027, plus all their other picks.
Right. But the Colts picks might not be very good first round picks.
It's not looking so good right now. Just giving up like those two guys in general. I mean, it's hard to get a cornerback, right? A really good cornerback. So yeah, you got a lot for Sauce Gardner, but man, even if he's not getting interceptions, he's locked down. People are throwing away from him. He changes a lot of offense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate. So on the other side, it wasn't like they were any good with them. So why not get as many picks as you can and just reset? Because they weren't going to go anywhere with both those players. So at least this way, you got the chance to probably get the best quarterback if you want. And then I think I mean, they got three in 2027. So
Right.
I think that's when the draft they're setting up for. Think about that. If they can get, and I know we'll see, maybe Arch and Jeremiah Smith.
What's your thoughts on that, Wes?
They're so bad. I mean, at this point, two players. I mean, it sucks losing Sauce, but it's like, you know, you have to give something to get something, and they need a quarterback, and they need weapons. They need everything almost on offense. Um, they were talking about Quentin Williams this morning, and there's this big debate: how much is he really going to help Dallas's defense? And it's like Quinn's, a run, kind of, it's kind of like helps with the run defense maybe for Dallas. But I mean, the Jets run defense wasn't that good last year, even with him. I mean, they ranked in the middle of the league, like 15th or something last year. So it's just, they need so much, there's so many things they need. Yes, now they need another corner. But with all those picks, when they stacked all those picks, they'll get somebody that's comparable, you know, and try to get a quarterback. And I think they're shooting for 2027 too.
You have to get a quarterback for sure. It's not sustainable long term with what you got or even what you might be able to get from free agency. If you also have that top pick, because it looks like they're going to be near the top, if not the top, right? You got the Saints, you got the Titans, all three of them. are, and with the Jets, they're all three pretty bad. But even if you get, a top three pick, that also means you get top three pick next round, next round, next round.
Well, and I think hopefully, hopefully the Jets will follow what we've said and not go for a quarterback and maybe use that top three pick to trade back for teams that really want a quarterback in this year's draft. Because I still don't think these quarterbacks are that great in this draft. But there's desperate teams, and then they'll trade you another pick next year. So stockpile those 2027 picks because I think that's the big draft.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Jets really playing for the future here, like because now you're talking 2 years out.
Well, they haven't been good in how long anyway, so why not?
No, it's. I mean, when's the last? I mean, we're talking the last. I mean, they've had two top five what picks. I mean, I know that. Well, they had.
They missed on Darnold and they missed on the BYU kid,
Well, yeah,
Zach Wilson. Well, they
Zach
didn't really
Wilson.
miss on Darnold. They obviously,
yeah. It's just it's also developing. You know, I mean, who's? I mean, honestly, 2027. Who's their coach going to be? I mean, that's are they going to give up? You know, this year or next year? I mean, you know, there's it's not a Derek's right. Derek's right in the sense where you could just stack the picks, you know, because someone's going to reach for a quarterback this year, and so they're going to be in the top, you know, three teams, worst teams in the NFL by the end of the year, the way it's going. And yeah, they could sit there and say, okay, you want Mendoza, you want Simpson. Okay, here you go. We don't want them, so you know they'll just they'll load for 2027.
Get some more draft capital for sure there. So long road for the Jets. I like both on the other side too. It's good for the Colts, obviously, to add a star corner, and it might not impact the Cowboys a ton today, but if as they're still kind of rebuilding their defense, that's a good starting point. A good anchor to come in for them as well. Couple wide receiver moves. Well, one of your guys, this is Jacoby Myers, moves over to the Jags, and Rashid Shaheed moves over to the Seahawks, which I think is really good for the Seahawks because he's very versatile and he can be a pretty good deep threat to help them stretch the field a little bit. Jacoby Myers, does he have what's Jacoby Myers' future look like in Jacksonville now?
well, I mean, they have Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas are both hurt right now. Edgar Bennett, who was the receivers coach for the Raiders, is now at Jacksonville. So there might be, I mean, depending on how much Myers wants, I think the Jags are a playoff contender, right? So he's dependable and reliable, and that's sometimes you need for a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Wes.
Trevor Lawrence needs all you know, he Myers is a guy that can go over the middle, you know, and make the tough catches. He could be, you know, Lawrence's fail safe when, things and you start scrambling around and, preventing him from doing dumb things like he usually does when he starts doing that, throwing the football. Yeah, it's a good pickup for them.
Well, Brian Thomas has been pretty inconsistent this year. He's hurt right now, but he's had some problems with drops this year.
Yeah.
And Hunter, we don't know what he is yet, right? If he is really a star wide out receiver. So it is a nice safety blanket there because Jacoby Myers is a possession guy, right? He's gonna catch a lot of balls. I think you talked about that stat previously where he led the league in least amount of drops.
We had zero.
Yeah, so it's nice to have that addition. If you're Trevor Lawrence, you feel like you got somebody who's a little more reliable. So
Yeah.
that's good.
And the Raiders did get a fourth and a sixth for him when he was going to be a free agent. So that's good. At least you got something.
Yeah, that's good for the Raiders for sure. And then Shaheed to the Seahawks, I think that's helpful. He's not obviously a top receiver, but he does things like I said, stretch the field, and that helps Jackson Smith and Jigba get a little more open because everybody's keying on him now.
Well, and then last year, Shaheed was doing pretty well till he got injured when he had Carr and when he had like a competent quarterback. Now he's got a competent quarterback again, so he might see him start to take off.
Yeah. So a lot of good little pickups there. There's some other smaller ones, across there, but just kind of wanted to focus those a little bit as we go. Kind of recapping last week. We didn't have a lot of swing games last week. 10-4. I think West, you picked the Raiders, so we basically all had the same picks except that one. What a week though for the teams, because here's the teams that you get four losses to teams you really thought were going to win their games. I mean, let's just start first with the Packers because I hate the Packers. So, I mean, I'm happy they lost. I picked them to win because you're playing Carolina at home. You give up
Well,
130 yards to Ricky Dowdle rushing. You only score 13 points. What's going on there in Green Bay?
they were Green Bay was 12 and a half point favorites. I mean, we talked about it and I've said it, I don't know how many times. I think we all have. Can you really trust Jordan Love?
Well, he came off that hot game, right, against the Steelers.
Yeah, and what was the constant about both those games? Steelers, Packers, Panthers. What the heck are these guys wearing? I mean, come on.
It's the
Like here,
jerseys.
I got the parlay going, 500 bucks on the line, and I'm like, no. I saw them come out in their uniforms. I'm like, no. I I don't trust it. They're gonna lose. And they lose. And then the Packers wear the leather helmets. It's just like it's just hideous. And Jordan Love, it's I don't understand it. You got to I know you have a 4th and 8. I know you're down. You got to make a play, and he throws the ball all the way across his body. He just makes stupid throws like that. It's like, what are you doing? Like, he's just way too inconsistent. Um, I part of it, I think it's coach's fault. It's like you gotta. Jordan Love is has a problem with throwing off his back, but still, you're gonna have to set up the offense where he does have a reliable check. He's checking down because if he doesn't have that, he makes stupid throws. You know.
Well, I feel like losing Tucker Kraft now is going to hurt them even more because I think Tucker Kraft had been hit that for at least in the last few games for sure.
Dude, the Steeler game, it's like the Steelers, it's like they weren't even covering crap. And everyone like everyone just praises Love the whole is he like can he lead them to Super Bowl? They're Super Bowl bound and all this. It's like Tucker Kraft was running wide open in that game. Yeah, yeah, he had a good game, but yeah, it's like he's gone now, and I think that's his that's his security blanket, and I think they're going to struggle at times. Josh Jacobs, I think, is the key to them to making a playoff run. I mean, he had 17 carries, 87 yards, but you know what? He's going to have to be the bell cow. You can't just sit there and drop Jordan Love back,
I mean,
40
37
times,
attempts. That's a
40,
lot.
45 times. He dropped back 37 times. It's not terrible, but Josh Jacobs needs more of the load here on the and as far as carries going forward, especially as the weather gets colder. No one wants to tackle Josh Jacobs in Green Bay.
Well, Jacobs is dealing with an injury too, so that might be why they weren't trying to give him as much.
Well, what is it?
Um, I just know he's questionable.
Well, when you give up 25 carries and 130 yards to Dowdle, you got to start asking your defense, especially your Russian defense, what are you doing? Bryce Young didn't he barely had 100 yards passing and, one interception at 80 rating, and they still won the game.
Yeah.
So I think that,
Jacobs been dealing with a calf injury,
Ooh. Oh no, that's not good.
but it's more of like I think it's pain management right now.
No. Yeah.
so we'll find out Green Bay this coming week. We'll talk more about that when we do our picks. Couple other games. So let's just hit these real high level. Indianapolis losing to Pittsburgh. A game was closer than it really was on paper, right? The score. Because Pittsburgh
Well,
had that game the whole way.
I called out the Steelers defense, and all of a sudden they show up.
I mean, Jones still had a good yardage passing, but yeah, they were turning the ball over a lot. So Indianapolis has a little cleanup to do there. I don't think that it's anything to worry about for them, but just losing that game to Pittsburgh, that was a big surprise.
Well, it was because they got down early and then they abandoned Jonathan. They stopped giving them ball. And they need, I'm sorry, Daniel, you know how much we love Daniel Jones on this show. But he needs Jonathan Taylor to be the guy.
Yeah, he can't throw the ball 50 times.
No.
No.
Or yeah, attempts, yeah.
Some of those throws, like the one interception, and that there's an epidemic in the NFL of quarterbacks throwing the ball 5 yards where there's three other defenders there and there's one guy. Their guy's right there. Like I don't understand. It's like there's three black shirts there, and behind the three black shirts is your guy, and he throws it right to him. Like really, like it just happens so. His turnovers were terrible. But you know
Well,
what? I mean, what do we? It is Daniel Jones being Daniel Jones, and it's all about again the bell cow. It's all about Jonathan Taylor. He's got to have he's got to be the focus, and Daniel Jones will take the pressure off him.
yeah, three fumbles and two lost by Daniel Jones with three picks. So
Yeah.
you're talking responsible for five turnovers there. So that's a rough day at the office. So we'll see how the Colts bounce back from that. And the Lions at home also here. This was Minnesota. You got JJ coming back from injury, but this is not a game that Detroit should have lost.
No, I mean,
You got to get Gibbs more involved. I mean, I don't. You're on AstroTurf at home with Gibbs. Like he's got to touch the ball a lot.
yeah, I mean, he had the problem is you're kind of riding Montgomery a little bit too much. Montgomery had that fumble too. Montgomery only had 40 yards rushing, so Gibbs has got to. They got to get Gibbs in the outside, get him. Whether you're going to pitch it or you're going to run those wheel routes or whatever, and that will open up. They also got to get Jameson Williams the ball more. He had that one touchdown. You know, you, thunder and lightning. You need more lightning right now, especially
Well,
playing at home.
what was weird is they targeted Montgomery more in the passing game than Gibbs.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So Gibbs had 25 yards rushing and then three catches for 3 yards.
Yeah,
Yeah, 28 yards from Gibbs of the whole game. So that's tough. And then the other thing, it doesn't look as bad when you look at just stats when you say, well, Aaron Jones had 9 carries, but he had 78 yards. He was chunk playing them with big runs. And so you got to start saying, hey, defense, what are you doing here? How are we, letting these guys on first down run for 6, 7, 8 yards, or longer in some of these? Mason had a 13 long, Jones had a 31. So you got a lot of big chunk runs there. Is what's your defense doing here?
Well, they did sack McCarthy 5 times though, so
McCarthy, he's holding the ball. He's got to get rid of it.
yeah.
That's a game you got to win if you're Detroit, though. You lose that game because Green Bay lost. You're fighting for the lead in the division, and you have this home game against the Vikings. Are not great, but JJ's just come back from injury. You got to win that game. So those three were big, and then Houston takes a pretty big loss there because now they're going to be missing CJ Stroud again this week. So that's a rough injury there.
That was a
Kansas
cheap.
City. Go ahead.
I was just saying it was a cheap shot. He was
Yeah.
sliding and he went for this head. That's one way to win a game, It's like get rid of the quarterback.
Take their quarterback out. That was just an ugly game all around, regardless. Chiefs losing to Buffalo. It's in Buffalo, 28-21.
Didn't get your over.
No, killed the over. But Cook over 100 yards, Kincaid over 100 yards receiving. So big win for Buffalo there. We talked about them. They win in the regular season and lose in the playoffs, but you still got to win those regular season games, right?
Yeah, Josh Allen's 5-1 against Mahomes in the regular season.
Well, what's wrong? I was just surprised the amount of pressure that they applied to Mahomes throughout the game. He took some shots, and normally you don't see that. And I also like they didn't, they didn't throw the flags either, because few of them are like, oh, you can't really touch the guy, and they kind of roughed him up.
Yeah, they looked pretty good there in that game, so great for them going forward. And I mean, Derek, you kind of predicted this for the Commanders. They got beat up number one by Seattle at home, but now you're looking at another Jaden Daniels injury.
Yeah, I said that he shouldn't play. They needed to rest him up to get him completely healthy and not risk a serious injury and damage him even more like they did to RG3. And so what do? They let him play. Seattle's crushing him, and he's still in the game and he gets hurt again.
Yeah, it's completely idiotic what Quinn did. It's 8:30 something left in the game. You're down by 20 something. The game is over. And he's already banged up. And it's just like, what are you thinking? It's like this I can't imagine like command or whatever fans, the football team fans, like really like again, like he just got RG3'd, and it was ugly. At first you're just like, I thought it was his throwing arm at first. And then I was like, whoa, okay. That's good. It's not your throwing arm, but they're still having questions when he's gonna come back or if he should get. I think you shut him down. There's no point.
Well, you're 3-6 at this point. But the other problem is when you're playing a team like Seattle, you got to realize what Seattle flies around on defense, right? They're a high pressure, high speed defense. That's not good for, an already banged up quarterback.
Yeah, it's not high school. It's like, come on, there's no moral victories here. He's a professional player. He is your franchise. He is your future. It's like you have and he is not the biggest frame dude you've seen as a quarterback. We talked about this last year. The only thing that I have reservations about Daniels is its durability.
Right.
He is not he's slight in frame, and so that was pretty stupid what Quinn did.
Well, and we said last year, coming into this year, CJ Stroud looked like this clear cut above, way above Bryce Young, and it was all this. And then he kind of regressed. And then this year, I think he's regressed even more. And coming into this season, everyone's like Commanders going to the Super Bowl, Jaden Daniels. But look what happened. Now everyone's like, maybe it was Drake May was the best quarterback in that draft class.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Drake May, they barely pulled out against New England, but or against the Falcons, but they're 7-2, right? I mean, what's to be said about him moving along slowly and letting him develop a little bit?
Well, and they wanted, I mean, the Commanders are letting Daniels get killed, and the Patriots are like, "Oh, let's try and get May some stuff before we get him out there." Just like the Bears, they let Caleb Williams get killed last year.
Yeah,
Does
he
that,
really, I mean, he obviously had, I think, the second most or first most time sacked in the league last year, so that makes you a little gun shy.
or like you see with Caleb, it's like, I better scramble a bunch.
He gets happy feet. Yeah, I mean, you would too if you're getting sacked that many times by NFL players, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's also May. I mean, he, he's got some pretty good receivers. I mean, here comes Demario Douglas. Kind of he shows up, catches a touchdown, averages 25 yards a catch in that game. Hunter Henry's always been there, but then you get Stephon Diggs, even Travion Henderson out of the backfield, and everyone forgets there's Max Hollins. He's reliable, and then Kayshawn, they got weapons, and those receivers can move. You know, um,
There's a good
that's
mix of targets
yeah,
by Drake May too, which that's something that no matter how great your receiver room is, if you are good at mixing up your targets, throwing into the open guys, and not locking in on receivers, which is Caleb's problem, right? Caleb Williams locks in on a receiver too much. He's already got in his mind where he wants to throw it. And it looks like, and you don't know, Drake May's still got, a lot of time ahead of him, but he's not locking in as much. And he's also scrambling when he absolutely has to, not when he might feel a little pressure.
Well, and I hate to say it, but Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator.
uh,
As long as he stays as just an offensive coordinator, he's great.
and stays away from the Raiders.
Yeah.
Good.
But I mean, that's the thing.
Banned. He's banned. He's on the ban list.
But he's good for being an OC. You give him a head coaching job and he forgets how to be anything.
Yeah, it's just there's too much going on in his head. He can't delegate authority. He's not a facilitator. He's just an offensive guy, and he's he's done really well with Drake May this year. I have to admit, like, geez,
Yeah, I mean, Drake May's helping him a lot, especially with his feet. He's helping that offense in general because he's that one more thing that you have to worry about, because you got Travion Henderson and you got Stevenson, but then you have these other four receivers, a good tight end. You've got a lot of weapons out there, but Drake May kind of holds that. Also, you got to look at me, and you're going to hold those spies or those middle linebackers and keep them from getting back in the middle, deep in their drops to take away your crossing routes.
but the bigger story of the game is, wow, the Falcons almost won outdoors.
Yeah, that
They
that would
lost,
have
they
totally
lost by
killed your.
one. I mean, them losing by one outdoors, especially to a superior team, is almost like a victory. It's like
Well,
Penix, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns. Like that's that's a
Drake
moral
London
victory right there.
Drake London had a huge game. He carried him on his back and you still only got what 46 yards out of Bijan.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that makes constant about playing out or playing on grass and outdoors. Bijan doesn't seem to excel at that. But yeah, Drake. Oh yeah, Drake London. Yes, let's talk about Drake London for a second. How I benched him in my other league, and he has 3 touchdowns. Are you kidding me?
That's pretty much
What
how
are
my
you
fantasy football leagues have gone all year.
doing?
Well, let's finish the wrap up here, though. We got to talk about the Chicago game because 47-42, Flacco throws for 470 yards.
Got the onside kick, took the lead.
Oh, dude, that
What
was
a what a way to finish the game. I mean, obviously, I was not happy when they got the onside kick, but you lose that two touchdown lead right at the end of the game. This is why we keep talking about the coaching, right? This is why we keep saying Ben Johnson, are you doing what it takes to be a good head coach? Are you ready? Are you doing the right things as a head coach? Even his comment where like, that's where you find out what you're made of and this is I'm like, dude, no, you don't. You find out there's no reason to find out you're made of that because you never should have put yourself in that position.
yeah. And they're running the ball. I like how they're they they made a commitment to run the football, and they ran some power leads, and they really put a lot of pressure on the Bengals defense. What I mean, if you can call their defense defense, but it helped Caleb, you know, play well in the first 3 quarters or so, and then it seems like they went away from that. Especially when you have a 2 touchdown lead. Like, what are you doing? This guy's running. He's running over everybody. You're having a hard time stopping him, and you got to keep at. I mean, that's how you finish them off. And they. I mean, I don't even know how we're just. I kind of like was watching the other games, like, oh, game's over, and I'm like, oh, it's not over.
No, well, Higgins and Chase, were just going off T with the two touchdowns but both of them over 100 yards.
But T. Higgins, I mean, he probably had some of the best catches of the year in that game. That was just some of that. It's just ridiculous how he can get over guys, go up for the ball. I mean, he was covered too. These guys, this was pretty good coverage, and he just takes the ball away from everybody. I mean, all the receivers. I mean, they got so many targets. When you just drop, Flacco in the shotgun, he's like, okay, I'm just going to play catch. I can understand how they could put up that many points, but you also got to help your defense out by running the football at will in the fourth quarter, and that's what they were doing the first 3 quarters.
Well, Loveland finally had a game, so it's not going to make the pick look as bad as it is, but I guess that's the positive note for Loveland there. 118 yards, two touchdowns. The big one at the
Odunze
end.
had 0 catches for 0 yards.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's as a coach, you also want to make sure that you get those guys involved and call plays for them, right? Plays that can get them an easy catch and just get them a little confidence going.
All right.
So
But
I'm a little worried here with Ben Johnson and going forward.
what's the biggest stat of the game is the number 1916. It's how many yards Caleb Williams has halfway through the season. That means just a little bit over 2,000 yards to be the first 4,000-yard passer in Chicago Bears history. He's got it.
He's got to do it. I
He's
mean,
got it.
especially
He's
with
right
his,
there.
He's got extra game
He's
than
yeah.
the
got,
others.
he's got an extra game. Yeah. He's got to do it.
Yeah. Then I guess, well, you guys are really kind of off the Raiders train, but what a brutal game for them, too.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean,
Well, I'm fine with it because they went for two.
Right.
yeah. And then it got batted down.
Yeah,
Like,
but I was like when they tied it or went to score and they could tie it, I'm like, screw that. Go for the win. I don't care
Yeah.
about a tie.
yeah, you have
And
to go for the win. Yeah. I
Well,
and then
I
of
mean,
course then I saw that Jacoby Myers was wide open, and if Geno Smith would have just not double pumped, he would have had he had the 2 point conversion.
well, Bowers comes back, with authority. Huge game. 13
Thank you, Randy.
targets.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah, Derek. Derek, okay, can we just make the ring for Derek now? There's just Bauer's game was insane. And I know that maybe I'm not too positive on the Raiders almost like all the time, but Bowers and then Genty, that's the future. And now it's getting a quarterback. I mean,
Yeah,
Bowers is just an animal.
he is.
They're splitting him out wide. It's like, okay, you cover him, let's put a corner on him, and he's still getting open and catching balls. I mean, just yeah.
Well, we talked about it way before he even was a Raider. When he was at Georgia, we said he's going to be the most talented player in that draft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the Raiders actually, and it was a steal.
It
You know,
really was. But at some point, we were talking about this a little earlier before we started. You still have to make sure you're getting Genty involved every game to keep his confidence going up. Just give him 20 carries. Just do it. You're 2-6.
I kind of almost feel like Chip Kelly is like so stubborn because everyone's telling him why, and he's like, I'm not going to do it. This isn't about fantasy football. And I'm like, dude, it's about winning. And if you don't give Genty only 13 carries, again,
well, you know,
Well, he didn't have the greatest, average on the 13, but it doesn't even matter so much when you're trying to build him right into a star running back. You got to show him that you have enough confidence into him to continue to give him the ball no matter what.
well, the thing was, he did have a good average. He, like his first 7 carries, he was averaging like 6 yards a carry. And then he had some, where he got hit in the backfield because he couldn't do anything. That's why you don't abandon the run, though.
Right.
Barry Sanders would have like 18 carries for 40 yards. And then he'd end up with 25 carries for 160 yards.
Yeah, you just can't stop going to him is the thing, especially at this point, I think with where the team is and where he is as a player, you don't want him to lose any confidence.
No, and then it will help Geno out.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you
then
don't
the
want Gino
defense,
throwing 39 times either.
oh God,
well, and it will help them out because then the defenses won't be like, oh, they're passing again. We're gonna just go and sack Geno.
Although the Jags defense, did not look great. Gino threw for 4 touchdowns. Obviously, 3 of them to Bowers, but man, the Jags tried to lose that game.
yeah. I mean, it's the Jacks. I mean,
So, Wes, you almost had that pick.
boy, I just figured, there's a puncher's chance. I mean, they're at home, and I thought Genty would get off, maybe 20, get off, maybe have a big touchdown run, and just didn't happen. So, I mean,
All right, well, let's jump over to college football here before we get into our Week 10 NFL picks. So, talking college football last week, so it's their Week 11 this
We could
week.
talk about the new, we got the top, for the
Yeah,
playoff bracket.
well, yeah, that was interesting too. I was just looking at that earlier today. So, kind of interesting how they're ranking people in that college football playoff. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I don't know about putting Oregon all the way down at 9.
I thought they would be a little bit higher. I thought 5, 6. Uh,
Well, it's a down year in the Big Ten. It's top heavy.
Yeah, your only loss though is to the Indiana, who's at 2.
Right, but it was a home loss.
Yeah, but you got Texas Tech ahead of Oregon.
Yeah.
well, here's the thing: the Texas Tech. Oh, Texas Tech. Yeah.
Yeah, not Texas A&M. Texas A&M, I,
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
mean,
I would, you look at like the AP and the coaches poll, they've got, or at least the AP has Alabama ahead of them. Where Texas A&M, they deserve to be in that number 3
yeah.
slot, obviously.
Going on the road, beating Notre Dame. I mean, it just the. I mean, they're projecting potentially 5 SEC teams in the playoffs. They're in that conference and they're having their way with pretty much everybody. Yeah, they should be number 3. You could probably flip Oregon and Texas Tech there and get that. Um, I just find it funny the bracket's still like with this group of 5 thing. Like there's nobody in the top 25 for the first time in 20 since 2014 when it comes to group of 5 teams, but they have Memphis in the playoff. What's the what is, what's the rule on that? Like I don't get that. I thought they had to be in the top 16 to make to have, to earn a spot. Like I don't get that.
Well, isn't there the 5 guaranteed spots still?
It's still, yeah. They still have the 5 guaranteed spots, but the top 4 are based on rankings, no matter if they win their conference or not. But I'm talking about the group of 5. There's obviously they get one group of 5 team, the best group of 5 team, and that's Memphis. They have them playing Georgia in the first round, 5 and 12.
Yeah, right. Because so they have it where, right? Because yeah, so in the top 12, Texas and Oklahoma would be out
Yeah.
because Virginia, who's 14th, and then Memphis, who's not even ranked, would be in.
Right.
Oh, in Virginia
Yeah,
because
well, Virginia, who's
oh,
8-1 now,
they would be winning their conference, ACC,
Yeah.
and they're an automatic bid.
but you
Yep.
got Louisville, Georgia Tech, but one of them's going to go.
Yeah.
And they still have Miami at 18, so they're giving Miami a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Miami, I just don't get it. Like losing to SMU like the way they did, it's just like they look good and then they look terrible. I don't know what
Yeah, they're
happened.
very inconsistent.
Well, I don't know. Cristobal's not a good coach.
No.
He's a great recruiter.
Yeah.
But just like last year, they were like, "Oh, Miami, Cam Ward, and all this," and then they fell flat at the very end of the season.
It's almost like Cristobal kind of just freezes when the iron's hot. It's you got to make. They say winning big games, you got to make 7 calls that are on the money, and it seems like he doesn't know what to do in those situations.
He's had some mistakes in the
Yeah.
past too, like some stuff where he's been really criticized over calls late in games. But this ACC is interesting because you look at these teams that are all up here, like none of them really play each other except in the championship game. Georgia Tech's got it the worst because they have Pitt and Georgia to finish the year.
Oh wow, Georgia,
Yeah,
Georgia.
Tech
Oh,
plays Georgia last game. Georgia Tech.
oh shoot. Okay, I thought. Okay, Virginia. Yeah, uh, yeah. There's tiebreakers. There's all sorts of things
I don't
that
know. I don't think Miami can make it.
I don't
Looking
think.
at this,
I don't think so. They'll have to win out and
Oh yeah, because right now this is crazy. So one, two, three, four, five, six teams are ahead of Miami
you're right.
with one loss in conference.
And they none of them really play each other either.
yeah.
So Miami might just be out.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you'd have the only way for them really to get in is because I don't think too many of these teams will take a loss going down the stretch. But the
No.
one team that could lose a game and it will matter is Notre Dame. Because if they go to three losses, Miami's beat Notre Dame. As long as they win out, they might get in.
Yeah, well, they need one of those teams to lose so they can play in the ACC championship, but then they'd be the automatic bid, is the thing. Because then even if they go to the ACC championship, then they lose. Now they have three losses.
Yep. Well, what I'm saying is, what if they don't go to the ACC and they finish with two losses? And Notre
Boy,
Dame takes the loss. That's
that
the only way I could see if they go to
that's
the
tough.
ACC, they have to win it, and if they lose, they're out because they have three losses.
Okay,
The
so
only
let's say Virginia and Louisville go play in the ACC championship. They both only have one loss. One of them goes loses. You can't put Miami ahead of them.
you mean at two losses?
Right. So let's say Virginia
Yeah,
Louisville play in the ACC championship,
yeah,
right? Virginia wins. Virginia goes automatically. Louisville now finishes with one loss or two losses, but they played in their conference championship where Miami didn't even make it.
right, correct. So again, Louisville, Virginia will have to take another loss,
Right. You
and
need
that could happen. You just don't know. I mean, but in Miami's kind of like the Cowboys making the playoffs. It's like 9%. There, you're saying there's a chance. There's a chance, but there's no room for error anymore. They have to
no,
win.
that's it's tough, and they need some help. Miami needs some help from one of these teams to lose. It
Right.
could be Virginia Tech could upset Virginia in,
Yeah.
at the end of
Well,
the
you
end
said,
of
I
the
mean,
year.
Louisville plays SMU. So that's a knockout game because right now SMU only has one loss in conference
Right.
also. And then you have Pitt playing Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has the toughest because they still
Right.
also have Georgia and Pitt.
So you're looking at like
Yeah.
for Miami to get in, they need Pitt's like four or five teams to lose a
Yeah.
conference game. Because you have Georgia Tech, Pitt, Virginia, Duke, Louisville, and SMU all ahead of Miami.
Yeah.
I think Duke plays. Do they play Virginia?
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe they do. Let's see. Yeah, they do. So that's Virginia has Wake Forest, Duke, Virginia Tech.
So, yeah. So but then let's say, okay, well, if Duke beats them, then Duke might have it.
Right. Yeah. Either way, Miami looks like they're going to be left out.
Right.
So that's pretty tough on them. SEC is going to be obviously a mess as it finishes here. And like you're talking about Oklahoma and Texas, like what's going to happen with these guys? There's still a lot of games left for them to play, so you never know even how that finishes up. But let's say if you were doing it right now, you're leaving them out basically. But Texas
Right. And
still has
we're
to
not
play
even talking
Georgia.
about Vandy lost last week, but it was a close game, and now they're out
Yeah, they're in a tough position too.
because they lost to Texas on the road by three, and now they're basically out.
Yeah, Oklahoma's got Alabama and Missouri, and Texas has Texas A&M and Georgia.
Right. Well, they control their own destiny. If they both went out, they'll probably both be in.
Right. Yeah, you could see Georgia and Alabama here drop pretty
Hmm.
heavily because Georgia's got Texas and Georgia Tech.
Either Georgia knocks two out, or it's like they're already starting their
Jeez.
playoffs.
Yeah, Georgia's playoffs start right now.
And that's the thing where, like, these people that, like a Danny Cannell or something, that hate the SEC bias and everything. But hello, we just talked about what Georgia has to do
Yeah,
just to make it to the college football playoffs.
that's tough. And you're talking about it in week 11, right?
Right. And as we were just saying about the ACC being like, they don't really play anybody tough.
Well, just no, just look at the Big Ten. I mean, what does Indiana have to do? I mean, the Indiana's like N. Like they, and it's not like Georgia's case or even Alabama. Alabama's got Oklahoma this week. I mean, you still can't lose these games. I mean, you're Alabama. You got to keep the foot on the gas. Like they're. I know there's going to be probably a team in the SEC that will have three losses and make it, but you don't want to be that team. Look what happened. It's like you don't want to be South Carolina. You got to win these games.
Well, even Oregon's schedule got a whole lot harder than it looked at the beginning because now you've got three of your last four games. You're playing top 25 teams. You got Iowa, USC, and Washington who are all ranked now.
Yeah, and you got to go to Washington, and that's tricky. Washington is good. I mean, I'm not saying they're playoff good. You don't want it. If you're Oregon, you don't want to go to Washington
Well, they have a
at
lot
any,
of good
at
position
any point.
players.
And then USC, that's an unknown because USC can put up 40 just like that. The way that the receivers, you got Lemon, you got I call him, the next Dwayne Jarrett. It's like they got weapons. It's Oregon, yeah. In Iowa, it's tricky going to play in Iowa. They were just it's a hard place just to go in there and win. You know.
Yeah, they always usually are tough.
I expect them to win, but I don't think they probably are in danger of not covering. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this week in college football, and then yeah, we'll get to we'll jump over to our NFL picks. So there are some games, right? When you look at, we just talked, Oregon going to Iowa. It's an important game for Oregon, but this you got BYU and Texas Tech for that Big 12 because that's still a mess. I mean, we've been talking about that for a couple weeks now, but now you've got number seven, number eight, BYU, Texas Tech going at it. So that's at Texas Tech, morning game. Geez, Texas Tech, 10.5 point favorite.
That's crazy.
Well, when Morton's playing and healthy, they have a good running game, and he can spread the ball around pretty well. But of
Yeah,
course, BYU's got Wes's favorite player, the Bear.
Bear running the option. Let's see some option from the Bear. Yeah, I the 10 points. That's that's solid respect for BYU there. But
No, undefeated BYU. They haven't played a tough schedule. They did beat Utah.
Handily.
yeah, I,
So that's an interesting game. I think looking at that game though, I don't know if they would cover. I'm definitely thinking Texas Tech probably wins that game.
Going with the power of the Mormons. I got BYU.
BYU's taking it. What do you got, Wes?
I'm taking Texas Tech.
I
I just,
like that ABC national game. That's great for them. Both teams. That's nice for them.
Except for me, since I have YouTube TV and there is no one.
whoa, that's right. That sucks.
Dude, you can go buy a $20 antenna for your TV. Texas A&M going into Missouri. Missouri's, been up and down in the rankings, out of the rankings. As far as they were up there in the top 15 for a while. Took a big loss to Alabama and Vanderbilt in the last 3 weeks to get their two losses. But not a particularly easy game for Texas A&M here.
Yeah, I still got Texas A&M. They're probably also irritated because they're probably thinking, hey, if we were an undefeated Alabama, we'd be number one. But we're Texas A&M, so they rank us at three. So there's kind of like feeling like the disrespect of them being three. So yeah, I got Texas A&M.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I definitely am on the same page there. I think Texas A&M is got something to prove. They want to go undefeated to that last game in against Texas. And then Oregon, Iowa, talked about that a little bit. I think Oregon does go in and handles that game pretty easily. They're only a 6.5 favorite though.
That's all right. Well,
It's in Iowa is why I think.
Oh, the prediction for the weather is snow.
Uh-oh.
no. Then that means the Ducks should wear their stormtrooper uniforms, all white, all white, no
That would be
silver,
brutal.
just white.
Yeah, I think I'd still take the Ducks there. I think they'll cover 6.5.
Yeah, me too.
That's on CBS, so I can watch it.
I mean, Alabama, they play LSU. LSU's obviously fallen way off, but it's still never fun to play LSU anytime. They just always have a lot of athletes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Alabama.
Yeah, and I mean, all the rest, they're just regular games there, which you would see that the top teams they probably hold on and win those games.
I don't know, this one here, 26 and a half, Notre Dame over Navy. But Navy is 7-1, and they do run the option.
Well, they have that quarterback. What's his name? Nor or Horvath, where he's their whole offense. Like he runs the ball and throws the ball. He's their leading rusher at quarterback. Because obviously that's Navy style. But that guy's he's a wild card. He's got
Yeah, they're
20
number one in the
touchdowns.
nation in rushing.
Yeah, he's killing it. 13 touchdowns rushing, 7 touchdowns passing.
Now, I still think probably Notre Dame will win, but that could be an upset. 26 and a half seems like a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Yeah, if I'm betting, man, that's a tough one. Nebraska at UCLA is UCLA is a favorite against Nebraska. Dang it. All right, well,
I
this is
hate to
gonna be
say
a big
this,
week.
but I don't understand why didn't Raiola transfer from Nebraska?
They're building a program. They have made progress. They're 6-3 right now. They looked a lot better. But yeah, at this point, it's easy to question it because now that he's injured. but they were trying to
No
build
one's
something.
no one's talking about him in the draft at all.
I wouldn't. I just don't see him as a quality NFL quarterback.
No, not a first round quarterback, but I'll take him in the third round. Why not?
Mini Patrick Mahomes.
He wants to be Patrick Mahomes. Maybe he could be half of Patrick Mahomes. And
All right. Well, we'll see how these play out. We'll wrap the recaps there. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with the our NFL Week 10 picks.